This week on Two Noobs, the NSA is implementing Skynet. AI to help with intelligent decision. I'll be back. Next, China is taking their balls and going home, and by balls I mean pandas, jerks. Then we jam it in there, space style, talking moon homes, space junk, and dumbass companies. Finally, we preview the Flyers' upcoming season. Are we finally building the foundation for when Michkov finally comes over? Ignore the tinfoil hat. Start the music. And this is episode 158 of Two Noobs Talking. It is just that time of year. Those are not gunshots I hear outside my suburban home. It's people driving over the walnuts on the street. It's just the way it goes this time. And of course, with me are two wonderful gentlemen over here. We've got jet-setting John Tracy. Over here is mass transit Matt Craig. And I am irritating Illinois Smith, your 2024 Sensible Party presidential candidate.
Very irritating. Yes, you are.
I take that as a compliment.
Yes.
Mr. Tracy, window banging aside, how are things down in Texas?
I'm about to jump out this fucking window. Let me tell you. I think we're good now.
Okay, good.
Everything is good. Good storm came in. Got a little, actually fun rain. It rained all night into the morning, and it was kind of fun because it was so fast moving that it wasn't like one of those where you just hear it was like. And then boom, 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 lightning over here and this and that. And it was like, oh, wow, it's not raining anymore. What the hell just happened? It's awesome.
I used to love thunderstorms, and then I bought a house. And
You're freaked
since
out?
then, freaked out every time.
Well, there you go. Funny.
Mr. Matt, how are we, sir?
I am well, Mr. Murray. It's great to be with you both, of course, once again for another fantastic episode of Two Noobs. Doing well. Just happy that the weather has turned and we are now officially in hoodie weather. Hoodie weather has returned, and I love it. And it's October. I can't believe it's October. How did
in the same place.
in the world did that happen? Yeah. Well,
Nobody's here.
Yeah, but you will turn. You will turn.
Yeah, when it gets down to 40, sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, it's supposed to.
Eventually.
Sooner rather than later. Yeah.
I'll believe it when I see it.
There you go.
All right, well, let's get right into the fun fact and over 40 rant for the week. It's brought to you by Dubby Energy Drinks. Visit dubby.gg. It's D-U-B-B-Y, pronounced like W. I don't know. I just made that up.
There you go.
Enter the promo code 2 Noobs Talking, Toonoo, bzz, talking. Get 10% off your order, whenever that may be. Don't say we never did nothing for you. All right, John, are you prepared with a fun fact?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I'll just wing it. No, of course.
A fun fact that you just made up?
I'm just making this up because I think about these things during the show. I found out today that tomatoes are considered a vegetable by the Supreme Court. Turns out they actually are fruit, like scientifically they are fruit. But it turns out in 1883, when they were trying to get some things figured out with regulations and customs, the Supreme Court decided that a tomato is just a vegetable. And just for that one reason and one reason only, to make it easier for everybody. It was because of customs regulations. They had to put it somewhere, and they decided that it went into the vegetable basket. Scientifically, it's a fruit, but it's in the vegetable basket.
How about that? So there you go. So scientifically, it's not called a vegetable.
Well,
It's
that's
called a
annoying.
fruit. Yeah.
That just significantly decreased the amount of vegetables I eat per week.
I do anything the Supreme Court says, so it's a vegetable. So I don't care what anybody says.
Nobody's following the science on that one, huh?
No.
Exactly.
Yeesh. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, gentlemen. Now it's time for the over 40 rant. I
boy.
think it's a joint one this week, right?
Yeah.
So who wants to kick it off for us?
I will.
Matt, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right.
Matt Gates, what the freaking bloody hell, you stupid moron.
Bleep,
What
bleep,
are
bleep,
you
bleep,
thinking?
Bleep, bleep.
Bleep, 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 bleep.
That's funny
wow.
coming from John, who curses more than anyone on this
Yes.
show. by the
Yeah,
way.
I had to hold back there a little bit. I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Guys, I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but this was crazy. Interesting that we had a plan A, but no plan B in Congress. Kind of sums up everything, I think. If you're
Does it
starting to
shock
think
you?
about it. No. Doesn't shock me in the least, Mr. Murray. Illinois Smith. I think we need you in there now more than ever.
Hey, look, you don't have to be a congressman to be a Speaker of the House. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
put me in there.
I'd vote for you. I'd vote
I'd
for you.
Excellent.
nominate you in there. What the hell?
Excellent.
I mean, I
but
think
yeah.
I think we should count. Just the two of us should count as 218 because the both of us are smarter than the 218 that are going to vote anyway. So
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
true.
Very true.
Johnny, what's the latest? Do you know, like, if they have actually nominated Jordan yet, Jim Jordan? In the
no. There's a
House?
Tuesday and Wednesday. That's gonna Tuesday. I think they meet Wednesday. They vote. So it's Jordan, Scalise, and nobody else has stepped up. There's rumors of I can't remember his name, but the guy that spoke at the whatever that was, the Republican convention in Florida. He's a Florida guy. He's very well spoken. He's hilarious. But his name was supposed to be in the I can't remember his name. He's supposed to be in the running, but I think he's more focusing on the governor race. And I was telling you guys, I'm really like a couple days later,
Yeah.
really looking at it further. I think this is exactly what that was because Gates has no shot if he goes up against this guy. So this was his political play to, I'll get rid of the speaker for you. I'm not going to be here anyway because you're going to secure me the governorship. And that's what it is. It's putting lipstick on a pig right now. And that's exactly what he did. He sold the American people out. Here, look at this. I'm doing something for you guys. Nope, he was doing it for his own political gain. That's all.
You know, you were doing your own. Yeah. Pretty much.
I disagree that he was doing it for the American people to begin with.
No, I'm saying that's what he said he was doing it for.
Oh, well, yeah, of course he said that was doing, but he wasn't actually. I mean, I'm not a fan of Kevin McCarthy myself, but
Agreed.
you know, to me, you have control of the House. You have an administration that is bumbling its way, can't do a goddamn thing right, and you somehow make yourselves look worse than the administration because you can't run your own friggin' house.
It's amazing.
And they're going to install some dumbass now as the speaker after probably taking 18 votes to do it again.
Yeah.
And they're gonna blow it, and they're gonna blow their majority in the House. They're gonna blow the Senate again. They're gonna blow the presidency in 2024.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean,
we got 15 months.
It's hard. Yeah. I don't know how you're going to sell that, Johnny. That's the thing. I know we were talking about that in pre-production, and just even think about it just now. How do you sell that in about a year's time when you know that the entire House turns over in November, essentially? You know, all new representatives get in there every 2 years. So it's like, I mean, it's good on the founders to have that done. I always love the fact that there's term limits in the House. Just need to work on the Senate, just so you know.
Yeah,
but
well, no. There's not term limits in the House.
Well, I'm saying in terms of like you basically can do a new representative every 2 years.
Every 2 years, true.
Yes.
Well,
so that's what I mean
6.
by a quote unquote term limit.
Yeah.
But
I think
there
should be max term limits for everybody.
Yeah, I agree.
Just like the president, you can only be in there for what, 8 years? You can
8
do 2
years
terms,
total.
Correct.
then you're donezo.
Yeah.
That should be. I feel that should be everybody in politics. You've got X amount of years. If it's 12 or 8,
why do we need? Yeah, why do we need 212 years of Nancy Pelosi in Congress? I don't understand.
Well, because corruption reigns supreme. Because when you're in there, just look at Joe Biden. How long was he a senator? How corrupt?
Easily 40 years.
How corrupt do you? Let's just say he didn't start out corrupt. How corrupt do you think he ended? Just that many years, that many relationships. I'm not even talking about like BS, like major corruption. I'm just talking about simple, basic. You've been at a job for 25 years. You and the owner are this way. You don't like the new guy. New guy doesn't get the same opportunities. I'm talking about that kind of corruption. Like just the basic, you're around for so long. It's not good for everybody.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm with you, Johnny. It really is amazing to me that we had one rogue rep with 7 rogue representatives overthrow the Speaker of the House.
And the
It
Democrats.
really amazes me. And the Democrats, yeah.
The
but
ones that
that was to be expected.
those
Yeah, but they were
ones that
always
those-
going to do
yeah.
it. That's the thing.
they
Yeah.
took
Go ahead, John.
they took advantage of it because those are the ones that
Absolutely.
were always going to do it. And these 7 slime balls were the ones that telling you how bad the Democrats were. 8, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The 8 slime balls were telling you how bad the Democrats were for the last year.
Yeah.
And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden when it fit their pocket,
Yep. There you go.
if Jim Jordan becomes Speaker of the House, the first thing he needs to do is eliminate that dumbass rule that one person can do it. If he does that, then he puts term limits in. Then he
can't put term limits in.
He can do something. And they have to get that done in these 15 months, the term limits.
Well,
Like, it has
guess
to be
what?
done.
It's not going to happen. And Jim Jordan is sure as hell not the one who's going to do it.
It has to,
because him and Trump are buddy.
It's going to fail if they don't do it.
And they won't do it. I'm guaranteeing that right now.
Yeah. One other thing too, term limits would have to be, I would think that's got to be a constitutional amendment. Now, I think if that were to be the case, and I think it would have to be an amendment.
I don't
to the
know
Constitution.
I don't think it has to be, but you would have to be. It has to be legislation, which means Congress, who it affects, would have to approve it, and you know that those lifers want nothing to do with that. So
I'm only thinking that maybe it might be a constitutional amendment only because the terms are actually listed in the U.S. Constitution.
Are they?
I believe they are. Yeah.
All right, we will fact check that and get back.
I'll make sure that gets.
Well,
done
no.
first.
Well, the I know the presidential amendment. That was by amendment, right?
That was by amendment. Yeah.
That was by amendment.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know
if the House was listed as 2 years and the
well,
Senate is 6.
whether it's 2 or 6 years, I don't care. That's your elected term. But for a limit, I don't know that it needs to be a constitutional amendment, but it might have to be to override Congress.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yep. Something to think
let
about.
the people vote on that.
Yeah.
That would be the smartest thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, totally.
But it'll never happen.
Yeah. So, we'll just have to overthrow the government. That's all. Throw Illinois
by voting.
Sniff.
By voting.
By voting, Matt.
Throw Illinois Smith in by proxy vote. And,
that's right. Write me in, folks.
He's right over there. There you go. He's right over there. Vote for him.
Vote for me. Make it happen, baby. Burn, baby, burn. Oh, sorry. Moving on, topic 1. Okay.
There you go.
And not really less disturbing news as we go forward. Fox News article. The NSA announces new artificial intelligence security center. Quote, desperately needed.
Ooh.
The National Security Agency will launch a new artificial intelligence security center to both protect U.S. AI systems and defend against external threats. The new security center launches as the U.S. government has increased its use of algorithms and AI systems in defense and intelligence and is seeking to safeguard systems from theft or sabotage. The NSA center will also be responsible for protecting the homeland from external AI-related threats, according to a report from Yahoo News on Monday. Christopher Alexander, the chief analytics officer of Pioneer Development Group, or PDG, told Fox News Digital such a center is desperately needed for intelligence analysis and is crucial for national security. The most obscure details can complete an intelligence estimate, and that requires intelligence analysts who can comb through every piece of information, recognize a pattern, and turn that data into information and ultimately a finished analysis. AI and machine learning can take on the role of literally thousands of lower-level analysts. It works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and the sheer amount of data collected allows for whole new methods of analysis. The report comes after a top CIA official warned that China's use of AI programs could be a threat to national security. They are growing every which way. Lakshmi Raman, the CIA's director for artificial intelligence, said at the Politico AI and Tech Summit, according to a report on Fox Business. These concerns seemingly mirror those of the Department of Homeland Security, which released a threat assessment that said the proliferation of accessible artificial intelligence tools likely will bolster our adversaries' tactics. Matt, we are releasing Skynet here. Is it worth it?
Boy, let me think about that. No. It's interesting now how they just love to get rid of these lower level analysts in the NSA all of a sudden because AI could do it so much better and they work 24/7 and blah, 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 blah. All I have to say in regards to this, what if the AI attacks us from within? Has anyone thought about that? Seems like we want to like protect against external threats. Totally agree with that. But on top of that, we have a rogue technology that, basically creates books that will allow you to forage a mushroom and say that it's edible to eat, and then all of a sudden, no, you know what? I don't think you should do that, in that regard. So, so I mean, this is AI, government. I'm not liking this mix, Johnny. I'm just not. I'm not liking it.
I agree.
I'm not liking it at all.
So just to backtrack on this real quick. So the AI learns from the internet is what we've learned, correct?
Well, we don't know about this specific AI,
Okay.
but
AI,
generative AI that's been in use the last 2 years is generally trained by the internet. Yes.
Okay, well, then we'll go twofold. If it's being trained by the government, I'm scared even more because they can't do anything right. So how would that ever, how would that ever work? What are you going to do? Are you going to train it to do what Biden does and glitch every 12 seconds? Are you going to use the Kamala Harris version where she says the point and then reiterates the point to make the point? Are you going...
As we've seen,
word salad. Yeah.
We've seen, generally, the AI is only as good as the people who train it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Good Lord Almighty!
And this administration does not bode well for a well-trained AI. Second, if it's going to learn from the internet, we're screwed because
we're pretty much screwed.
Yeah, because that's just we're not favorable on the internet. If you just go to any other country, they don't like us very much because we're free.
John, you mean to tell me that Wikipedia is not truthful in its entries? I find that very, very shocking. From out of your, are you trying to imply something?
I don't understand losing. They're talking about just getting rid of a workforce, which is, generally speaking, the government workforce is just like me and you and people we know. They work low-level government, right? There's an opportunity to do something. Well, Biden won't do it anyway because he can't make jobs. But there'd be an opportunity to produce jobs by saying, hey, I need a 24-hour surveillance, so I need 3 shifts at X amount of dollars to work on this program, but instead we do the lazy thing and go, oh, well, AI can just do it because, humans suck. It makes no sense. We deserve to be taken over by computers because we're so ignorant to computers.
Where's that electromagnetic blast where you need it? I mean, the electromagnetic pulse, to take care of this stuff. Anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I feel like this administration missed the whole Terminator thing.
Yeah.
Handing over your defense to a machine is. But there are other concerns besides the future of us fighting T-800s, gentlemen.
Oh boy.
John Schwepp, the policy director of American Principles Project, or APP, is wary of the use of AI by the NSA, pointing to the controversial spying scandal that was made public by whistleblower Edward Snowden just over a decade ago. Oh, God, that was a decade ago. My
Yeah.
God.
Wow.
And he's still in Russia.
Yeah.
Oh,
He says nobody is clamoring for more data mining and invasion of privacy from three-letter agencies, which is funny because he has a three-letter agency.
Yes, exactly.
But anyway, the NSA has already demonstrated a history of abusing their power with the data collection operation previously uncovered by a whistleblower. We don't even know the full scale of the dangers we're facing with this emerging technology. Should we really be entrusting a corrupt bureaucratic agency with even more power?
no.
Congress should be looking to limit the scope of these domestic spying operations, not giving them a de facto green light. AI will mostly be used for threat detection analyses, according to Army General Paul Nakasone, NSA director. And he stressed that the U.S. has already been doing that. AI helps us, but our decisions are made by humans, and that's an important distinction. We see assistance from artificial intelligence, but at the end of the day, decisions will be made by humans and humans in the loop.
That general
Bill-
needs to talk to Mark Milley and let him know that. Just FYI. Yeah.
He's not paying
He also
attention.
needs to make sure that humans are not removed from strategic missile defense.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of important. But this
Where's
brings up
John Connor? I don't know.
he hasn't been born yet.
No.
We're screwed.
He does bring up a good point, though, guys. This
He
is coming from agencies who have been known to invade the privacy of the U.S. citizen.
No, really?
Does this add any further concern on that, or is this just business as usual, John?
Business as usual.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they could make this thing fly. I think they're throwing it out there like they do everything else, and once everybody goes, that's not a good idea, they go, oh, you know what, we won't do that either, because they can't do anything. They can't get anything off the ground. So this is just them floating it out there. I just don't understand why this guy's saying that there's going to be humans there, but the other guy saying that they're firing all the humans because they're going to use AI. They're not even on the same page, like on the same project.
Well, to be fair on that point, I believe it says they would be removing the lower level analysts, who I presume are the first people who comb through it.
Yeah, they would be the
AI would do the initial pass, and then the results of the AI then go to the higher level people who actually make the decisions on the intelligence.
But I'd rather have the guys like in Spaceballs with the bloops and the bleeps. I'd rather have that. That makes more sense to me.
You do need those button pushers, that's for sure. You know, that kind of a deal. Just don't hit the red one. You know, that kind of.
I mean, to me, it comes down again to we're worried people are going to miss it. Well, if you don't train the AI properly, the AI is going to miss it.
This is my last point to this. We just had that national emergency thing, cell phone.
Yes.
That FEMA came out and said that it was going to go off exactly at this time.
Highly annoying, by the way, but go on.
Yeah, it was highly annoying, but they couldn't even get that right because it went in stages. It didn't even go all at the same time. I was at a gas station with a large amount of people, and it was like, boop, 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 boop. And we weren't in time. We weren't in sync. Like, nobody was. My work phone went off. My personal phone went off. Like, nothing was in time. So you're telling me that we're gonna work that they're gonna bring AI into the government and it's gonna work better? They can't do anything right.
I was just gonna say, I was sitting there, my work phone went off.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but that was the only one. And I'm looking at my personal phone. I'm like, uh-oh.
Like, what happened?
Is my personal phone excluded from the loop? Well, that's not good.
Like, what's going on?
You know, 2 minutes later, my personal phone finally went off. And then my work phone went off again. So that was.
Well, there you go.
Who knows with the government?
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows, John? With AI, you never know. It might just balance the budget and eliminate the $33 trillion of debt that we currently have. So you never know.
The man most directly responsible for the AI is Miles Bennett Dyson.
We must terminate him immediately.
I have detailed files.
Hey, how come I'm wearing sunglasses? What the heck? I'm gonna take these off.
I don't know. 'Cause you're a copycat. You're going to be wearing a fedora next.
Well, why not? Maybe I'll just do it and I'll throw on a ball cap. Who
There
knows?
you go.
We'll do it that way.
By the way,
I'm not
this
the only
All that.
this hat of the 3 Eagles hats I have is heavy, and you probably won't make it the whole episode. This thing is way
John's head is going to collapse in the middle of topic 3, just like poof.
Why is the thing so heavy?
What happened to John? His head fell off.
There you go.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm
All right.
hiding from the U.S. government. That's what I'm doing
There
right
you
now.
Well, why do you think I'm in Illinois
You
Smith
should.
today? We were talking about the government.
Well, this will be on a lighter note, in a way. Well, maybe not a lighter note. I'm hiding from our Chinese overlords. Go on, Steve. What's topic
communist
2?
jerks that take things away from us.
Speaking of Chinese overlords who take things away from us, right? Yahoo News article: why China is taking pandas back from the U.S.
Those bastards.
I know, right?
Not
I'm
like
glad.
we
I just
own-
glad I got
not
to
like
see
we
one at the
own them.
BC Zoo.
No, but I
No.
mean, how dare they?
I agree, but not like we own them.
John's defending communist China over here.
I am.
What's going on here?
We're going to take our bags of lemons down
John,
to
what are
Texas.
you saying? Are you a Chinese spy? What's going on?
Apparently.
Anyway. Yeah.
Well, in 2024, for the first time in more than 50 years, there will be no pandas in the United States after zoos in Atlanta and Washington, D.C. return theirs to China, which has been loaning its pandas to countries for decades. The
Unbelievable.
United States has been engaged in so-called panda diplomacy since 1972, when China gifted 2 pandas to the National Zoo in D.C. as a gesture of goodwill during President Nixon's administration. Since
I am
then,
not a
zoos...
Sorry.
Since then, zoos across the country have hosted giant pandas for years at a time, but their practice is coming to an end. The National Zoo recently announced that its 3 beloved pandas, Tian Tian, Mei Xiang, and Zhao Qji, will be returned to China by December 7th, when the zoo's 3-year agreement with the China Wildlife Conservation Association, or CWCA, ends. The giant pandas have been at the zoo for over 20 years. Usually, the Smithsonian Institution, which operates the National Zoo, renews its panda contracts in order to keep them. But this year, officials say such attempts have failed. Zoos in Memphis and San Diego have already returned their pandas to China, and the other pandas in the country at Atlanta Zoo are set to be returned sometime in the next year. Well, John, you seem to be a China lover today for some reason.
Yes.
How do you justify this?
How dare you?
It didn't say China failed. It said, this is again. I hate to make everything political, but this is what happens when idiots run your country. They don't want them here anymore because they don't like us, and they don't want to. The panda in 72, it was a gesture of hope. It was a wonderful thing. Back then, they were trying to expand their horizons, and they wanted the world to see. And what a better way than to use national zoos and do. Nobody wants to be seen with these people anymore. I understand they're taking their pandas back. I really do. I don't want my pandas near you. I want to take my Constitution back. I want to take my flag. I don't want them anywhere near it. I kind of understand what they're doing. It sucks that we won't be able to see it, but I think it's a direct correlation to they don't want to be around fucking idiots anymore. Right? I have a hard time arguing that.
Yeah.
Matt, counterpoint or agreement?
Well, I agree with John in a way. I mean, there is a certain level of there is a lot of the tension is definitely built back up when it comes to China. Obviously, COVID may have had something to do with that. I don't know.
Shocking.
All that negative press, the Chinese weather balloon flying over, our Air Force base in Montana, fill in the blank. It's been aggressive, and also the war in Ukraine that has a lot to do with it too. China and Russia are buddy, and they want to ditch Ukraine, and basically give it back to Mother Russia. and all that kind of stuff. And it's, communists do as communists do, as someone always alludes on this podcast. They're very good at lying. They're very good at what they do. So if this is something where they have to engage in their own propaganda, well, we're going to take our pandas away from your zoos and ruin your children's lives for the rest of our life. Luckily for us, we have Kung Fu Panda, so we can throw that movie in perfectly fine.
And you know what's great? You know what's great about Kung Fu Panda was they got so pissed off that an American studio could make a movie that is so what's the word I'm looking for?
Beloved?
No, not beloved. Reverent to ancient Chinese culture, and they couldn't do it.
Yeah. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Stick that up your craw. Well, okay.
So jam it in there. Sorry.
That's the next segment, Matt. Hold on.
Yeah.
So two things there. One, you mentioned China lying. That's mentioned in the article here. And two, to counter John's point about not wanting to deal with Americans, we're not the only ones losing our pandas.
Yes.
Funny boy.
Yeah.
So back in April, Yaya, a giant panda that had spent 20 years at the Memphis Zoo, was returned after the zoo's loan agreement ended without renewal. Allegations of neglect against the Memphis Zoo were circulated on Chinese social media, which the zoo emphatically denied. I'm not sure who I want to believe in that situation.
Dun, dun, dun.
Probably the Memphis Zoo.
Probably.
Also, officials in Singapore announced that a giant panda cub named Lele will be returned to China in December. Shang, a 5-year-old panda who was returned to China from Tokyo's Ueno Zoo in February, and Fan Xing, a 3-year-old panda who was returned to China from a zoo in the Netherlands last month, led to celebrations. And in July, 2 new pandas born in South Korea are considered the property of China and will soon be returned too. So it's not just stupid Americans, John, who are getting their pandas revoked. So what say you now?
I mean,
is this China getting back at its political enemies?
No, not completely, but I could see why they're doing it to the United States. No, they're grabbing everybody. Because maybe you have to come to China now to see a panda. I'm okay with that too.
Maybe you can have Chinese food in China.
You want to see a panda? Book a flight. No, this really does suck. This is China being China though. This sucks for everybody. That is one animal that you can't find everywhere.
Nope.
And the fact that they had all these agreements, it's cool to go to the zoo and you can see the normal American things, or you can go to Australia and see the normal Australian things, or you can go, Canada and see the same shit. Sorry. But the exotic animals that you can't, like alligators are cool at zoos in the Northeast because you don't see alligators every day. And then you put them in a zoo and you get to see it because it's not Florida. You're not seeing one every 4 feet. You're not like going outside. Oh, there's 6 alligators. There's Lily. There's Tiger. There's naming them all. And because they live in your backyard.
Yeah.
We don't have pandas. So there's going to be a generation of kids that only know from Kung Fu Panda or pictures on the internet.
Matt, I'll throw it to you first before I chime in on my harsh criticism. But go ahead.
No, yeah, I mean, it is a loss, no question about it. Johnny, I agree with you in that regard. It's just, I think it's just China playing politics, unfortunately, with us right now, and it's a product of really bad leadership at the top. When it comes to our political leaders. And I think, we kind of alluded to it back in the beginning part of this podcast. Until we get really good people, and decent people, not good, but decent people in elected office, we're going to continue to struggle with this. And, to be able to rebuild that, I guess you could say, that goodwill with China. I will give credit for Nixon for, which is very rare because Nixon was a lunatic and a lot I'm not a crook. Yeah, right. One thing I will give him credit for was building a bridge to China. That was probably the best thing he ever did in his foreign policy. over the years. And until we have that happen again, we're going to go through stuff like this, where it's like, okay, well, we're going to take all of our pandas back. We're going to, oh yeah, well, you did COVID. Oh yeah, well, you did this. Oh yeah, your food stinks. That kind of, things will calm down again down the road, but we just need better leadership. Mr. Murray, I secede the time to you.
Thank you, sir. Said Mr. Gentleman from King of Prussia. The sad part is what's going to suffer here is the conservation efforts for pandas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've long held the belief that zoos play an important role, not just for, taking care of animals that may be endangered, but promoting conservation efforts. You're not going to be passionate about protecting an animal that you only see pictures of on the internet.
Yep.
Yeah.
When you go, and especially impressionable children, when they get to go to a zoo and see one of these animals up close and potentially even interact with it, that sparks the love of an animal and the efforts then to do what you can to protect it, donate, participate, volunteer, whatever, help at the zoos. And China now is endangering its pandas even more by pulling that out of foreign zoos. Now you're not going to have a generation of kids, as John points out. They're only going to know pandas from a movie. They're not going to have that experience that sparks the interest to want to protect them. And I think that's a sad reality coming out of this political nonsense. Kung Fu Panda, that was a good movie.
It was a very good movie. Yeah.
All three of them were good.
Yep.
I enjoyed every one. Although I didn't like him beating up on a snow leopard. I like snow leopards too. So
yeah,
he can beat up on a peacock all day long, but a snow leopard.
Well, they are annoying.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
If we put
especially at the zoo. Especially at the zoo where they're wandering around, and you could just randomly run into them.
That always aggravated me as a child.
My brother-in-law.
You're not a zoo animal. I've seen you outside the zoo. Why are you just prancing around?
My brother-in-law and my sister have a next door neighbor that have a pet peacock.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was legal.
Yeah, I didn't know it was legal either, but apparently they do, and I have heard it. It's loud. It is a loud bird, and it's like, dude, where's my 357 Magnum? I could just take that thing out. Seriously. Good Lord. I mean, it is loud.
Matt is choosing violence.
Yeah, that's a large weapon for such a small animal.
Well, it has a large noise.
First peacock I ever saw was on my neighbor's lawn because it escaped from somewhere. Literally, 5-year-old me.
Sorry.
First peacock I ever saw was right in front of me in my neighbor's lawn because it escaped from somewhere. And animal control had to come and they wrangled it up and took it away. And I was like, "What the hell was that?" Basically, and then my parents explained that it was a peacock because I've never seen one before. First of all, I was 10 feet away from it. It's awesome.
That's wild. So I'd like to apologize for my violent behavior.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'd like to point out that I was not aware that peacocks were only male until I was probably in my 20s.
Oh,
I thought it referred to both of the species, but apparently peahen is the term for the
technical term
version. Yes.
How about that?
Yes. And they don't have the large vibrant display, which I guess makes sense.
Yes.
Make those sense.
But switching topics, now we're going to jam it in there.
There you go.
We're talking outer space.
Ooh.
3 separate articles.
God bless you.
It was very ham-handed of me.
Yes.
All right, first article here we got from the Weather Channel. Using lunar concrete, NASA plans to put 3D printed homes on the moon as early as 2040.
Interesting.
NASA has
in line with their nuclear power plant, right?
Oh, I guess so. The one Matt's protesting? Yes.
The one that I'm protesting? Absolutely, yes.
Because he incorrectly believes it's going to blow up the moon?
It's going to blow up the space and time altogether.
Well, now it's going to blow up prefabricated housing. I understand.
Oh, man.
All right, so NASA has partnered with Austin-based construction company Icon and awarded it $60 million to create homes on the moon that both astronauts and civilians can occupy.
Not
A
us, just
massive
Elon.
3D. Just Elon. He's going to buy it, an entire
The whole
complex.
thing. Yep.
A massive 3D printer, not plinter, but a printer, will have to be flown to the lunar surface and installed there. That sounds easy.
With whose rocket?
Then, then lunar concrete made of rocks, mineral fragments, and dust will be loaded in as the printer ink. Since the lunar temperatures can fluctuate between a boiling 120 degrees centigrade and freezing minus 130 degrees centigrade, they couldn't put that in Fahrenheit for the normal folk.
I guess not.
And the sun's radiation
lot,
could
but I have
pose
no
a
idea.
danger. The sun's radiation could pose a danger to people on the moon, so Icon's infrastructure must better protect from thermal radiation and micrometeorites. The space agency is collaborating with universities and private enterprises to design the building's decor and anti-float furniture.
Ooh.
Icon's 3D printer is presently being tested before it is sent to the moon in February of next year. All right, Matt, how many of these homes can I put you down for?
None. What would be the going rate? That would be my question. This condo here was around 150, 160, something like 1,000, right?
I'll take your word for that.
I'm thinking like you probably have to add a couple more zeros to that list price up there on the moon.
I'm pretty sure they don't have a Wegmans there right now
No,
either.
No, that would be a problem. No arcade either.
I'll just jump on
Blockbuster.
the anti-floating. IKEA is expensive already. Like they're gonna make shit. Like,
Right? Right.
that's at least $11,000 for a chair.
So
And
you
you need
can't
four
move
of
the
them.
furniture either. Once it's set in the living room, you cannot move
Then
it.
I'm done. Like I can't
Yeah.
even go to the moon because I got to move shit around all the time. I gotta change my scenery.
Unbelievable. Wow.
Yeah, the mechanisms for the anti-float furniture escape my my knowledge of physics, but I think you'd also have to spend money to get there, A, and then want to live there, B,
Yeah.
long term.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they'll have a
Discovery.
Discovery Channel show about moving to the moon, how two people that work as a gardener and a tomato salesman make $655 billion a year, and they can move, they can live on the moon.
Yeah.
Well,
Coming to
Oh,
your
working
TV.
remote too. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And they're going to do it by 2040. That's only 17 years from now, guys.
They can't even.
Well,
they
hey, the
can't
electric
make
car's
cars.
coming too, Steve.
They
Yeah.
can't even make cars, dude.
We were supposed to have flying cars by 2015, and now they want us living on the moon in 17 years. I don't think so.
I don't buy it. Yeah.
And
That's
none of Elon's
insane.
rockets actually make it. So who are we relying on, NASA or Eli? Because we're screwed at this point.
We are.
NASA redesigned their entire program for no reason, as we've discussed on this podcast many of times. And Elon can't get anything up there to last. He can land them, but he doesn't actually put them into space before he lands them. He just sends them up here and he's just playing with toys at this point. Like he's done nothing that actually makes sense to what this would be. To how do we get our furniture there? How do we?
Yeah.
Well, I'm only half joking about not having a Wegmans. I mean, if you're going to go live there, you need, I don't know, food, water.
Do you know how expensive it is to live on a private island for groceries?
Oh, I bet. Yeah. It's got to be immense.
Think about the moon. Okay, so if it's $20,000 just to live on a remote area, right? Alaska, or it your bills are astronomical for food. Now you're gonna can any of the BS that we create down here survive up there?
Well, they're gonna farm space cows. I mean, that's just
It's-
what's gonna have
we
to do.
spent
You're
way
gonna
too
have
long
burgers.
on this in the gym, and
Yeah.
there's
Exactly.
anti float beef.
There you, there you
Easy
go.
All
to
right.
eat.
Yeah. Well, speaking of things that float, this next article from BBC News: U.S. issues first ever fine for space junk to Dish Network. The U.S. government has issued its first ever fine to a company for leaving space junk orbiting the Earth. The Federal Communications Commission fined Dish Network $150,000.
That'll show them.
And because this is a BBC News article, they had to translate that to pounds. That's 125,000 pounds.
There you go.
For failing to move an old satellite far enough away from others in use. The FCC said the Dish's satellite posed a potential risk to other satellites orbiting the Earth at its current altitude. The $150,000 fine represents a tiny portion of Dish's overall revenue, which was $16.7 billion in 2022. However, the fine may still have an impact on other satellite operators, according to Dr. Megan Argo, senior lecturer in astrophysics at the University of Central Lancashire. The fact that they've actually used their regulatory powers for the first time is certainly likely to at least make the rest of the industry sit up and pay attention, said Dr. Argo. Now, lest you think this is just silliness, NASA boss Bill Nelson told the BBC in July that space junk was a major problem, which has meant that the International Space Station has had to be moved out of the way of debris flying past.
Oh,
Even a
gosh.
paint chip coming in the wrong direction at orbital speed, which is 17,500 miles an hour, could hit an astronaut doing a spacewalk. That can be fatal.
Oh,
he
yeah.
said.
Oh, yeah.
John, I know. Well, yeah. I mean, you hate the administrative state, but probably a good thing this time, right?
This is a step in the right direction. Only problem is this is parenting 101. If you don't start from the beginning, it's going to be really hard to get to get them straight. So just this small slap on the wrist. I mean, I love it. I mean, I it's a good correction because get your space junk out of the way, as you explained to us months and months ago about the James Webb Telescope. Orbital speed can mess things up. So
Yeah.
your shitty ass Dish Network thing, that satellite that doesn't work anymore, that was from 1984 when you were doing trials. I don't want it hitting an astronaut that's trying to do like real work out there. You should be fined, idiots.
That amount of miles per hour, though. What was that? Say that again, Steve. It was like over
17,500.
Oh, wow. That's insane.
I
That's
love that
just
they said it
absolutely
could be
crazy.
fatal.
Yeah, it could be.
It can be fatal. It's fatal. If it hits you, it's
Yeah.
fatal.
Yeah.
Well, they're talking about, in that instance, they're talking about a paint chip. So, I mean, if it goes through the bottom of your leg, you're probably going to survive. You might lose a leg, but it's going to hurt like hell.
Oh, yeah.
If it hits you in a different spot, it could absolutely be fatal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
But in the vacuum of space?
anything bigger than this, slamming you at 17,500 miles an hour is going to be quite painful.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
the vacuum of space, if that hits you. Good Lord
Well,
almighty.
that too. That's a good point. I mean, if it
Yeah.
rips through your spacesuit, you could have
Mhm.
decompression. That's going to be really
Not going to be
problematic.
good. No.
This reminds me of Wall-E. If you remember from
Oh,
the opening
absolutely does, yeah.
shot, when they're out in space and they fly in towards Earth and they have to go through all that crap just floating out in orbit,
Oh,
all
my
those
gosh.
decommissioned satellites and
Lights and
pieces of
stuff.
junk.
Oh,
I mean, I just hope this leads to cleaning it up, because it's just going to be a
Please.
graveyard of junk
mm,
if they're not careful.
I agreed. Yeah.
Which leads us to our third article from Nature.
Mm.
And speaking of being a blight on the view,
Oh, boy.
the Blue Walker 3 satellite is officially one of the brightest objects in the sky.
Hmm.
Last Monday, scientists with the International Astronomical Union, or IU, announced that one of the brightest objects visible in the night sky is not a star or a planet, but rather the Blue Walker 3 prototype satellite. It is unacceptably bright for many sky observers around the world, Meredith Rawls, co-author of a paper on the finding and member of the IAU Center. She's got some title.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. So this satellite is part of an ambitious 5G communication system developed by the company AST Space Mobile. It possesses a massive structure known as a phased array antenna. That array takes up about 64 square meters, 689 square feet of space. And because the panels are reflective, it's almost like Blue Walker 3 is a giant mirror continuously bouncing sunlight toward our eyes as Matt puts on the proper protection.
There you go.
And that mirror could soon have company. AST says it envisions about 90 similar satellites roaming the skies in the near future.
Gosh.
Now, excessive human-made brightness in the sky directly impacts astronomical observations, both radio and optical. And in particular, astronomers are concerned about how the Blue Walker 3 will affect studies conducted during twilight hours. And here's why that is important, gentlemen. One such type of observation looks for near-Earth objects and provides an early warning to potential asteroids on a collision course with Earth. Hence, these satellites could hinder any attempt of an early warning and so prevent us from protecting ourselves from an extinction-level impact. Sounds to me like AST Space Mobile needs to get the boot. What do you say?
Yeah, I would think. With this satellite, that's unbelievable. And Meredith's title, gentlemen.
Yes.
The IAU Center for the Protection of the Dark and Quiet Sky from Satellite Constellation Interference. That is a mouthful.
That better pay $600,000 a year.
Member of the IAU Center for the Protection of the Dark and Quiet Sky from Satellite Constellation Interference. So there you go. That is quite a mouthful. I don't know how she fits that on her business card, but that's another story for another time.
Right. But my main question is...
Carries around a tablet, apparently.
Yeah.
My main question is, this company, they didn't do the research and realize, wow, 64 square meters as a mirror.
You might want to tone that back a little bit. Yeah, I would think. Yeah.
No, they didn't. They didn't do anything other than make the sky ugly.
Yeah.
It's more than just the beauty of the sky, gentlemen. We're concerned about being able to detect near Earth objects.
But this is big business. They do not care. They apparently can pay for a license to shoot a satellite up there, and they can do blah blah blah. And there are no regulations on it. Maybe Congress should stop flipping speakers and maybe figure out what the regulation would be for asteroids heading to the Earth. That might be something you might want to discuss in your little meetings that you do nothing on. That would help if. Why are they allowed to do that? I don't even understand why they're allowed to put the satellite up there. Did they pay their money, which might be however much that is, to shoot that thing up there? And now we find it's a problem? That seems problematic that nobody looked over the plans before. You can't build a house without having someone come and make sure that you're building it properly. Why are we throwing shit up in space without proper checks?
You are right. The article did say somewhere, I don't have it highlighted, it was a lengthy article, but there are no limits on how many you can put up there, even.
That's a problem to me.
I don't even know how you do that from a project management perspective, guys, to be perfectly honest. You're just throwing shit up in the air.
I work in a field which there are rules for everything. And I'm not blinding Earth from asteroids.
What's that?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's the extinction event. We've all wondered what's going to happen.
Why didn't we see it coming? Oh, because Blue Ass Mobile had to get their 5G signal spread out all over the world.
Who's probably going to get bought by T-Mobile, and you're going to pay $1 trillion for a cell phone at this point.
Well, what about satellite? Satellite radio, XM radio? Come on, Sirius XM radio. What's going on over there? I need that.
I hate big business.
Well, apparently Sirius XM Radio was able to get their satellites in without blinding the Earth. I mean, that's just good business.
They might want to improve on some areas of reception, though. I'm just saying.
Well, you drive under a bridge and you lose everything.
Yeah, exactly.
But at least they took the precautions not to hinder our astrophysicists from preventing extinction.
Yeah,
it's just I'm with John. There's rules for everything. Why are there no rules for putting shit in space?
Well, maybe if they move to the moon, they'll be able to see it. That's the thing. That's the plan.
Maybe, but
maybe I think what happened. They're going to fire him and put an AI in charge anyway, so people aren't even going to see it.
Exactly.
I think what happened was they planned it and they put it on Elon's rocket, thinking, "Oh, this is never going to make it."
Yeah, it's never.
And just miraculously, oh well, it's up there now.
They made it. Wow.
It's sure to blow up in an hour.
Well, now that I know Blue Ass Mobile is spying on me, I've put my tinfoil hat back on.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, come on. You're trying to hurt me over here? What's going on, Steve? Good Lord Almighty.
Deadpool's going to buy them and bankrupt them.
Oh, with a smile. All right. Well, now the bring down portion of the show. No, I'm just kidding. That was last year.
Year.
Yeah. Topic 4. Flyers. Philadelphia Flyers hockey is back in Philadelphia. We start the season this week. And as we always do here on the program, we're gonna do a preview.
Yeah.
Get a look at the team, what we think, what we're looking forward to seeing, what we hope not to see. And okay, my hat's not blinding you anymore.
No, it's not. I'm fine.
Good. John Tortorella, year 2. We just finished the preseason as of recording. I don't know what the record was, but
no idea.
They looked good the last few games. They can't look any worse than they did in the first preseason game when
very true.
The Devils blew them out 8-0 or whatever.
Yeah.
But allegedly, and there's probably truth to this, we can blame Tortorella's early conditioning in camp, making him skate for 5 hours for 3 straight days and then playing a game. That's probably not the best way to prepare, but
I would think. I have the answer for the Flyers.
Yeah.
3 wins, 2 losses, 1 overtime, fill in the blank, whatever they call it.
Oh, they did lose 1 in overtime. You're right.
Yes.
You're right.
So
okay.
3-2-1. 7 points. That was third.
I feel comfortable with that.
In the Metropolitan Division for the preseason.
Not bad. And the good news is Boston looks like they're gonna suck.
Yeah.
From at least the highlights I watched. Jeez.
All right. Well, Matt, I'll start with you. What are you looking forward to seeing this season? Because we're obviously not getting Michkov.
No. We need to kidnap him first out of Russia.
Yeah, unless Matt is going to be rung up on some charges after he brings him back. Apparently, he's already got a plane, and he's going to take some of that $1 billion that we're sending to Ukraine.
Yeah.
He's going to hijack that, and he's going to go get him and come back.
But I'll go get him and all of his friends and family. And hey, come with me. We need you to save our hockey franchise for the next 12 years.
Yes.
I'm actually semi-optimistic. I think they are going to be better than last season's ridiculous nonsense that was taking place. Step 1 in identifying a problem is admitting that you had a problem. As I mentioned last podcast when we were doing this, right? And they have admitted they have a problem. And so they are officially rebuilding the team. I think they are trying to do it on the fly. I think. Although no one really came in for the year. No one really notable. Mark Stahl.
No big free agents.
No big free agents, which is, I think, was to be expected. I mean, team right now needs to build youth, and they're doing that. I heard Frank Saravalli, who I do respect, on Nasty Knuckles podcast. We'll link to it, by the way. They're a great follow. Derek Settlemeyer and Riley Cote. They do a great job. I'm a big fan of that podcast. They had Saravalli on, and he's like, well, Torts isn't exactly the right coach for the job. He's really the worst coach to have if you're trying to do a full and complete rebuild, because he's so driven and motivated for the team to do well. And I think I follow that logic. However, you need to learn how to win in the National Hockey League, and Torts can do that. So in that instance, I think they're going to be 6th in the division. They will probably hit 85 points, I'm guessing. That would probably put them at 6th. So they're still on the outside looking in, but in terms of the overall scope of the NHL, that might put them in the bottom of the top 10. 8th, 9th position, kind of like where they were before. They're in the lottery, but they're not going to hit the first overall pick, that kind of deal. So I think with the additions of Couturier, Atkinson, and they have stabilized a little bit on defense, although I think their defensive core is still weak. It's going to be interesting to see how they do, especially with Carter Hart in that. We'll see. But I think they're 6th in the division. I don't think they make the playoffs, but they're competitive. They're going to be in games. They're going to do well. They're going to score goals, but not enough, obviously, to make it.
I don't get Saravalli's analysis at all, because that's not what I hear from Tortorella in his press conferences.
Mm-hmm.
And he is the first coach where I've ever actually sought out to hear his press conferences, because he is so forthcoming and knowledgeable with what he tells you and how he explains things that I
grounded and
Oh, absolutely.
And he does not sound like a guy who's like, F them kids, I'm going to win at all costs. You know what I mean? I know people are giving him a hard time because he's got a 4th line with no young guys on it. They'll go, well, why don't you keep the young guys up here and play? Do you want your young kids playing 8 minutes a night on the 4th line, or do you want them developing properly, playing 20 minutes a night in the AHL?
I want 25 and them having success. I don't want to waste them for sitting on the bench. There's no reason for that.
No reason.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, John, I know you have a couple points. I yield the floor to you.
Only 5. So
well, we could stretch that.
I understand what Frank was saying, but I feel I think the exact reverse of what he was saying. I feel this. I don't think John Tortorella is going to be the coach when they actually win big, but I really like Tortorella being, from what I know of him, being a hammer on fundamentals. I think that's the best thing in a rebuild. He reminds me a lot of Ken Hitchcock in Dallas. Ken Hitchcock's he's one of my favorite coaches of all time, and Jeremy Roenick said it best. He's the best coach I have for about 3 years, because he needles on you so much you want to get rid of him. I love those guys, though, because those guys actually, they teach the unteachable, and they fix the disconnect of the better players. And just from watching very little highlights, they look in the preseason like they're manning their positions properly, and they're not all over the place like they were last year. I saw a lot of people getting lost last year. And it was almost, I love to watch hockey, but you can't watch that kind of bad hockey. When you got someone that the anticipation, when you have absolutely no anticipation and you just stop skating in the middle because the puck isn't around you, it's the worst. It's so infuriating that you can't watch it. I did not see that in the limited that I watched the Flyers. They looked like their heads were up. They were taking bodies. They knew what they were doing. I watched them on the power play. I watched them on the penalty kill, and I watched them even strength, and they looked like they were doing better. So that was my first point. Is I think they're going to make less mistakes.
There you go.
2, coach. A+. I just think he's the best coach for the job. They're gonna win 5 extra games just because he's not gonna let them lose 25 again. So they're gonna win 30 just because he's not gonna allow them to lose. He's not gonna allow them to do the same things they did last time, I think. So I feel they're like a plus 10 at least for that. Health.
Last year, Johnny, they were the Flyers were 31 wins, 38 losses, 13 overtime decisions. So 31, 38, and 13. 75 points.
Okay.
So That's what I'm
Well,
thinking.
so,
Like,
so you said 85, which is 5 more wins.
Yeah. So yeah,
John's kind of
so
saying the
right
same
on,
thing.
yeah.
He'll drag you up 5 wins. Yeah.
I think just on him alone, but I have a couple other things. Health. I think things changed on the health aspect because you've got new leadership.
yes.
Keith Jones, Danny Briere, they're not gonna passively sit by and allow these guys to sit out for long periods of time because of injuries. And it was a lot of culture driven stuff that I thought with the injuries, like, oh well, we don't know, he might be. Who wants to play for Fletch at all? Who wanted last year wanted to play for him at all? You could see that even in Tortorella kind of talking. The guy above him, he didn't respect at all. So so I think the health is going to step up a little. They might play with a dinged ankle or a dinged elbow. So you might get your better players, which would maybe add another 5. So I have like plus 10 to, I said 10 to 20, but 20 would be full health, no mistakes, knockout goaltending, and your superstars were your superstars. That would be your 20 wins. I don't think that's all going to happen. So plus 10, I think, could happen with that. And the last thing I have to say, I can't wait to watch Owen Tippett play every game. He is my favorite player. And I still haven't broken him down to the point of why he's my favorite player. But I keep watching him and I keep liking what I see. I love this kid. I'm so happy he's a Flyer.
Yeah.
He has a quick release, and he is deceptively quick. His body, he's a big body, and he moves quick, and he has pull away speed.
Yeah.
He scored, Matt, correct me, you said 26 goals last season?
I believe it was 26. Yeah, I'll look it up.
It was close to 30.
It was close to 30. It wasn't 30 because we thought he had scored 30, but it was close. I believe he could break 30 playing with the right line mates.
Absolutely.
When Michkov gets here, I think he could hit 50.
Oh, jeez. And it's over. Game over with that kid. When he gets a dude that can play, game over.
So just last year, Travis Konecny led the team 31 goals, Tippett 27. And then you have Morgan Frost with 19, Kevin Hayes, of course, no longer with the team, 18.
Right.
And
well,
Lawton
so
with 18.
Morgan Frost took big strides late last year. He struggled a lot early, but he became a fairly good point producer towards the end of the season.
Yep.
Hopefully that will continue.
That's a Tortorella kind of thing that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The guys the back end of those guys that were playing well, I feel they're going to continue.
Yep.
Yeah. You got Travis Konecny back. You get Couturier back, which is huge. Hopefully he can stay healthy. So far in the preseason, he's tested it out. He's initiated contact, so he seems good. Atkinson as well. He seems like he's recovered from whatever it was that he had a problem with last year, shoulder injury.
What about Forster, Steve, Tyson Forster? Do you think he makes the club at the top?
Well, to hear Tortorella talking as early as yesterday, which was Friday, because we're recording on Saturday, and I don't know when the final roster decisions will be made, it sounds to me like they don't have a problem keeping both Forster and Bobby Brink, who's another good forward prospect, who played very well this preseason. They don't seem to have a problem keeping both of them up, at least to start, and they don't have a problem if they need to send them down to work on some things, kind of like what they did with Cam York last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think Forster will get a shot. He wasn't a spectacular preseason, but according to Tortorella, he did good work.
Okay.
So he should be around. Brink will be around. The defense is the part to me that still needs building.
Yeah. Consider that you just traded away one of your top defensemen to Columbus. You know, I mean, that was, and I've had my love-hate relationship with Provorov, no question. I thought he was going to be a Norris Trophy candidate, the way he was playing and the way he was steady, but then he also went into deep downs and then had roller coaster highs, that kind of a deal. So I think he did need a change of scenery. I really do believe that. And I think he was just tired of all of the nonsense that was going on. And oh, you're in aggressive rebuild? Oh, okay. So you're going to get this. So you're going to get paired with Ryan Ellis. And Ellis only plays 4 games, if any,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And then it's like, well, that sets him back. And it's like, great. Now who do I play with?
Right.
Sanheim? Oh, great. Okay, I guess I'll try. And that didn't work. So there were multiple different things
And
with
then
him. I
later
think
you're
he needed
stuck
that fresh
being
start.
the cornerstone, and he wasn't ready for
Yeah.
that. And it could be addition by subtraction with him though, because
Yeah.
he ate up minutes, and he was good but inconsistent. So if you can
Mm-hmm.
get
Yeah.
some consistency in there, that's all Hart needs is consistency. He
Yeah.
needs 2 guys back at the right time, at the right spot.
Right.
Yeah.
That it is a criticism that I have, in with most teams. Boston was that way when I was watching the highlights of that
Mhm.
one game. If you can
Mhm.
consistently, Chris Tarian is a huge point to make. If you can be in the right spot at the right time with minimal talent, you make your
Mhm.
goaltender 25% better every time.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm
Yeah.
hoping. That's what I'm hoping for on the defense.
Yeah.
Well, the problem I have with the defense is I don't see the number one here yet.
There is none.
Agreed.
I don't think there's a number one on this roster.
Yeah.
I love Cam York. And quick side tangent. So the Flyers have changed their jerseys. Now they've gone to the darker orange they used
Yes.
to wear
Love
in
it.
the 90s,
Yeah.
which I love. I still am not a huge fan of the single color numbers on the sleeves.
Yeah.
But watching the game on TV, it's like, oh man, this reminds me of the 90s.
Yeah.
Cam York changed his number to 8. And he's a smaller kind of guy, and he's left-handed. So every time I see him out there, it's like, oh, there's Mark. Why is Mark Recchi playing?
Yeah.
It's very disorienting. It's very strange. But to bring it back, so I love Cam York. I like his game, but I don't think he's a number one guy. I think he could be a top pair guy, but I don't see him as your Eric Desjardins or your Chris Pronger type. So I don't see a number one. The superstar forwards are coming.
Yeah.
Ichkov is in the organization.
Mhm.
Got to wait on him. That's fine. Cutter Gauthier had a
Mhm.
fantastic world championship or junior champion, whatever the hell he played for the USA.
Yep.
He's going back for another year at, I think it's Boston College.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, he's in there
You
for what?
you might see him at the end of the year.
Yeah.
The college, once the college season ends, a lot of times college players who are ready to make the jump to the NHL will play in the last 5-10 games.
And I guess
that's a
Radek-
possibility.
Yeah, and I guess Radek Bonk's son,
Oh, Oliver Bonk.
Oliver Bonk, he's probably going to be in the minors, I'm guessing, right? Or probably going back
I
to college.
think he went back to junior,
Hmm.
if I'm not mistaken.
I would
But-
say he's 2 years
Yeah.
to probably being
2 to
the
3.
rookie. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did 2, 3. It's the talent level of that guy. I think
Yeah.
cut off a year, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Right.
expect him next year.
What's very encouraging to me, though, gents, was when the draft happened, there was a spike in the ratings in the Philadelphia area because people were so excited about what Danny Briere could bring.
Oh, absolutely.
And he hits a home run with Michkov. Now, we just got to, like I said, I got to get over there, steal him
Yes,
out
steal
of
some money and
Russia.
let's go.
Let's go, right? Bring him back, all that kind of stuff. But the fact that that is happening, and when you don't have a Chuck Fletcher anymore, where the fan base was pissed off
Mhm.
at, and we covered that obviously when that
yeah.
happened back in March. That was unbelievable that happened. But I mean, it's a buzz, guys. I think that's very encouraging in that regard. Now, a lot could still happen, obviously, with the season, but I think the expectation is okay. We've understood. Like we're marks right now. We totally get it. You're finally understanding that you're in the rebuild, and we're waiting for you to be patient. Now, let's just get it done. And I think we got the people in place that could get it done.
I'm just looking for steady improvement.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The young players to play well, the guys who we expect may still be around,
Mhm.
maybe Travis Konechny, maybe Scott Lawton. those guys to continue to play at a high level, everything else to improve. That's all I'm really looking for, because I mean, we discussed this in pre-production. We've all seen the KHL highlights of this kid.
Oh,
phenomenal. My
He's-
reaction was, what did he just do?
Yeah, he's good.
As of
Yeah.
last week, or earlier last week, he had reached 4th in scoring in the KHL, and that was even despite the fact that his coach and his first team benched him for the first 2 games and played him like 8 minutes for the next 2.
Wow.
And then he got transferred to Sochi, where he's really taken off.
Jeez.
And that's a men's league. This is not juniors.
No.
Those are men playing there.
Those are
They
men
can play
playing.
over there. They can play over
Oh,
there.
yeah.
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 And he's really tearing that up, and he's gonna be really good. And this goes to that whole tanking thing.
Mhm.
We
Let's
got
talk
this
about
kid
that.
at
Yeah.
number 7.
Yeah.
Okay,
We did.
we dropped to number 7 and we got him. It's a matter of 1, luck, and 2, picking the right players.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't get Connor Bedard, but the chances of that happening, even if you Columbus had the worst. Was it Columbus or Anaheim? Had the worst record.
Yeah.
Columbus had the worst record. Then what did they pick? 3rd?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they got totally shafted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy they drafted is not what I would call a consolation prize. I mean, he's good in his own right, but he's not Connor Bedard. But
Anaheim was the worst. Anaheim was the worst, 58 points. Then Columbus and Chicago tied 59 points.
okay, so Anaheim got moved to 2nd. They got Fantilli, which is a great player, not Bedard level, but he's good. But
Yeah.
still. And we got Michkov, who probably would have been number 1 if not for Bedard.
Mm-hmm.
And we got him at 7. It's kind of like the Sixers when they lucked into Joel Embiid because
it is
he
very
broke his
similar.
back
It is very
and-
similar to that.
Yeah.
Someone
Right,
stepped
yeah.
on
I mean-
Joel Embiid's toe and he became a Sixer.
Exactly.
Genius. now,
You know,
now
they're-
USA basketball is flipping out, and they can't put any more press releases out because he's going to play for the United States.
Yeah,
And USA
right.
basketball is like, oh, we got it. Like,
Yeah.
I can't and it's the same if you're watching and you don't understand. If you live through the Joel Embiid, that's what we're talking about with this kid from Russia. When this kid gets here, your eyes are going to be glued to the TV set. I've seen him play for maybe 11 minutes of his career, and I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed.
I mean, we were
And
all
I
thinking,
don't pop on hockey players much.
Yeah. Well, we were all thinking, right, guys, that he has a Lindros-esqueness about him, if that is such a word.
Talent-wise.
In terms of
not
his talent,
Lindros-esque,
not his physical
but-
ability. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
first,
he's not 6'3" and 220 pounds. No.
No.
But he's probably the most talented prospect we've had on this team since Eric Lindros.
yes,
Yeah.
For
yes.
sure.
And we included Claude Giroux, and we included a couple others. He's good. He's real.
You
good.
could picture him in a Flyers uniform
Easy.
day one
Mhm.
with no,
There's
he's not
there's
going to
minor
juniors. He's not going to the minors. He's in the starting lineup. He's in the top
Absolutely.
6.
No, he's a pro
Easily.
already.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's a pro
Yeah.
already.
Yeah, he's a pro already. That's
Yeah.
the bottom line.
Yeah.
But
So,
I bring it up because there's people who are still like, oh, we got to get the number 1 pick this year. I'm like,
No.
well,
No.
no. There's, and
You got a
can think of
GM that can
teams-
pick.
You
Yeah.
have a GM that can pick.
Yep.
What you don't want to have happen is you get into a habit of losing, and that's one of the reasons John Tortorella is a good coach to have
yes.
because
Yes.
he's not going to let that happen.
Exactly.
If you fall into a habit of losing, it doesn't matter who you pick because
Yeah.
they're coming into a culture that doesn't give a shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Look
that's
at
just
the
going
New
to
York
continue.
Islanders for 25 years.
Yeah.
How many number 1 picks did the Islanders have?
Oh
Over
my
over
gosh.
25 years.
In
Yeah,
the
everybody
90s, they were a
played there.
laughing stock. Yeah,
Everybody
because
played
of
there,
that.
but it was a losing culture. And that
Yeah.
is
Exactly.
what I want to see is us picking 10, 11, 12,
Mhm.
then moving up. Maybe the next year we pick 20, maybe 25, but we're still grabbing people.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't we get Giroux late in the first round? Very late.
He was
very
he was
late.
like a 20 or 22.
Yeah,
Something like that.
way down. But that was good scouting, good general manager work of getting these guys when they were good. We need to get back to that.
That was a
That's what
Holmgren
the
pick,
Flyers
right?
organization is.
It was actually a Clark pick.
Yeah.
Was it really?
Yeah, because he mispronounced he forgot his name at the podium.
For not for nothing, Bob Clark wasn't the shittiest human being in the world.
No, he wasn't.
Great player. I mean, was he the best GM? Probably not, but
Well,
But
when you can
I'll
build
say
one
this.
line, that's great. But when
I'll
you don't
say
have-
this:
Go
he tried his damnedest
yeah,
to get us the players.
did.
yes,
he tried.
I agree.
He
with
tried.
that. Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
You know, that's can't be said for the previous regime.
No.
No, thank God we're
I
back.
mean, Columbus proved you could sign Johnny Gaudreau and still get a top 3 pick.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'd never
saying.
thought that someone other than Russ Falwell had a worse time as a general manager than
Well,
Chuck
Fletch.
I
Fletch
mean, and that's
just
saying
came
something.
in here and shit all over that.
Yeah.
He was like, "Hold
Yeah.
my hockey puck. Watch me tear your franchise down."
Yeah, and oh, by the way, you're having diarrhea while you're taking it. You know what I mean? Like, it was that bad. It was awful. It was awful. The amount of excuses that guy had, I never thought I'd ever hear so many people. There's so much in the way of so many excuses.
Thank God I was.
Oh, well, Ellis. Oh, well, this. Oh, well, that. Well, maybe you ought to take a look at, you might want to look at yourself in the mirror there, pal. You know, I mean, come on. Let's go.
Sure.
So, good riddance to bad
Yeah,
rubbish.
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's the good news is we don't. And that's what I was going to say. I hate to keep bringing it up, but Henrik Zetterberg, I believe, was a 6th round pick, and Pavel Datsyuk was a 7th round pick. I might have that reversed, but
And I miss
just
Pavel,
saying.
and I miss Pavel. Dude,
Thanks for that.
Too, every day. What a player.
Just
Thanks for
saying,
that, Steve.
you could
Appreciate it.
get
Yeah.
superstars
Yes.
sometimes low. You just gotta pick them and develop them right.
Yeah.
But you know, I think we're on the way up, gentlemen. I have trust in Keith Jones and Danny Briere.
Low crime, but we're going to get there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to take time, and I you know, we suffered through the Sixers. Unfortunately, that didn't pan out for various reasons.
Hey, but they'll get to the second round of the playoffs. That is a guarantee. That is an absolute guarantee. You heard it here first.
Right. But I think we all agree the trajectory seems to be there, and we seem to be heading in the right direction. So
Yep.
we can all be happy with that. And I think the games this year will be watchable.
Yes.
You know, I'd like to
That's
watch
my hope.
competitive, watchable games.
That's the hope. That's the
Right.
hope. Yeah.
And with that, we are competitive and watchable here on Two Noobs, and we just completed episode 158. You cannot read my mind because of my tinfoil hat.
Yes.
Thank
Good
God.
job. Good job.
There you go.
I thought I had the tinfoil hat. I don't know why you have that.
I found this. Maybe you left it last time you were here.
Maybe.
But anyway, do you gentlemen have anything to say before we head out and sit on our asses for another week?
Well, you know, it's coming up to the 3-year anniversary next week of Two Noobs, actually.
Is it really?
Yeah. So we're going to have to do something a little bit special, I guess, for the 3-year anniversary. It's hard to believe. Our kid is 3, Johnny. Can you believe that?
I still can't believe you guys hang out with me every week after coming up with this thing.
Well, you're kicking. You're dragging us along, kicking and screaming there, pal. So there you go.
Just proud to be a part of it. That's all I gotta say.
There you go. All
Yeah,
about the
I had
ride,
plenty
baby.
of better things to do today. I don't know what.
I
I'm
know.
saying.
I gotta dual watch WWE wrestling and the Phillies at the same time,
Crazy.
while other things that are going on in college football land. Getting ready for tomorrow.
There you go.
It's crazy.
There you go. Yeah.
College football.
Well, I live in Texas. It's way bigger here.
Oh yeah, I know.
Oh,
it's a
yeah.
division down there.
Temple Penn
no doubt.
State is. Even though I do watch the Penn State games, I'm just saying it's a little different when you're watching the first round pick, the first pick in the draft, the second pick in the draft, the third pick in the draft, the fourth pick in the draft. It's like watching the NFL on Saturday.
Way to go, Temple Owls losing today to University of Texas San Antonio, 49-34.
How would you lose to them, Temple? Come on.
I
Better than that.
don't know.
34 points. Is Kurt Warner's kid still playing quarterback?
Yes. He went 42 of 65 for 472 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Sounds like a Warner kind of day right there.
65 pass attempts, 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, no rushes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no rushing at all.
Is Torrey
29
Holt
rushes.
kid on that team?
I don't know. But man alive.
If he was, it would have been 56-49 Temple.
Exactly. Yeah. There you go.
All right. Well, enough of that. I've already checked out mentally. So
There you go.
we'll see you guys next week on episode.
We hit the leave button, or should we call it?
159. See you all next week.
Hey everyone, thank you for spending time with us here at Two Noobs Talking. If you want more of Two Noobs, you can check out our entire catalog of our podcasts out on YouTube. Or you could search for us out on your favorite podcast listening platforms, such as Apple, Google, Samsung Podcasts, iHeartRadio. Wherever podcasts are available, we're out there. Hey, while you're there, would you mind leaving us with a 5-star review? Have a great week, and we'll see you again next week with another great episode of Two Noobs Talking. Take care.